Good evening, dear all. So we are very happy to see you. Welcome to English Without Borders, dear Thomas Topham. So we are very happy to see you. And today we are having a very good speaker. And today our speaker will talk about STEM and English language class. And let me introduce our speaker today. Thomas Topham has more than 25 years of experience in international education with a focus on teacher training and curriculum design. He has worked in more than 30 countries all over the world, most recently in China and Uzbekistan. And his current focus has been on integrating EFL with STEM, media literacy, and critical thinking. His current work includes cooperation with Lingua Innovative Education Foundation in Kyrgyzstan and a variety of freelance consulting and independent projects. And Mr. Thomas Topham did a very good presentation at English Without Borders conference. And so we are very happy that he was able to join today and deliver a very good and interesting webinar for the English Without Borders audience. So dear audience, please use this opportunity to ask your questions to our speaker after his presentation and leave your questions and comments. So we will forward them to our speaker after his presentation. Thank you so much, dear all. So over to you, dear Thomas. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nasiba. First of all, hi, welcome to the three guys that are here in the Zoom and to anybody else watching later on. First of all, I would just like to explain to you that the session I'm doing for you today is a demonstration lesson. So as a teacher trainer, I feel really strongly that just telling you about stuff is not nearly as useful as letting you experience it yourself. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and I hope you're all willing to give it a try, I want you to be my students as we go through this lesson. And just to make sure that you guys are all kind of here and awake, can I see a hands up or a thumbs up for everybody who's ready to be my student? Excellent. Zuro says she's ready. Anybody else ready? We don't want anybody sleeping. Oh, Mavluda is here. Nasiba is here. Firuz, great. Maybe Sadbarg will wake up a bit later. Maybe Masuda will wake up a bit later. Okay. So anyway, to get started, I'm going to share my screen, my PPT. And let's just first of all check. Again, can I just get a thumbs up if you see that screen all right? Everybody good? Can you see that? Okay, Zuro Mavluda, thank you very much. So anyway, as we advertised, this is I'm calling it a STEM lesson, but you know, I don't know your level of sort of advancement or your level of familiarity with STEM. So before we actually get started, I'd like to just ask, do you know what exactly is this STEM thing? It's something kind of new in education. Anybody has any idea, please feel free to share. I'm happy to read the chat or to see your or to have you speak. Who can tell us something about what is STEM? Ah, yes, Nasiba says science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's the acronym, yeah. English and maths, okay. Could be something like that. Any other ideas, guys? Technology, okay. So interesting. We know what the STEM stands for, but I'm wondering, you know, what does a STEM lesson look like if I'm teaching a STEM lesson? Because that's what I'm just about to do, but it's nice to kind of predict and think about that before we actually get started. What do you think is going to happen that's maybe different from a normal English lesson? Any ideas, guys? Hello there. Hello from Bakhtar. Hi. Any ideas, guys? What do you think? What is a STEM lesson like? How is it different from a typical English lesson? Any ideas? Ah, integration technology. Okay, yeah. I think very often people think about STEM thinking, oh, it's to do with bringing technology in. That could be an aspect of it for sure. Anything else? Science, technology. Yes, well, that's true. That's the acronym. Well, innovative lesson. Maybe by using technology. Okay, again, this idea that there will be some technology in it. It's interesting because I think you'll see afterwards, after we've gone through the lesson, there is some technology for sure. Collaboration of different subject in English lesson for sure. This is ooh, and I love it. Yeah, Nasiba at the end here saying expanding critical thinking. Teaching English through science. Okay, great. So we have a few ideas. We're going to get started now. And we're going to get started by playing a little bit of a game. And the game works like this. I've put it up on the slide. I think of a country, and my job is to give some little hints or descriptions or clues. And your job is to try to guess what the country is. And we're all going to get a chance to take a turn, but I will start first. Please feel free, you can speak into your microphone. If you want to type in chat, that's okay, but when it's your turn, you will also need to speak. Okay, so here we go. I'm thinking of a country. Okay, this is quite a rich country, and in this country, they mostly speak Arabic, and it's a desert country. And this country is very well known for having lots and lots of oil. UAE is a good guess, but no, it's close to UAE, but it's much, much bigger than UAE. Any other guess? And they made lots and lots of money by selling oil. Anybody else want to guess? It's close to the UAE. It's bordering on UAE. Russia makes lots of money from oil, but this is a desert country. Qatar is small. Yeah, you're naming all the countries that are kind of around the edge of this big main country that's in the middle. Qatar is beside it. UAE is beside it. It has Mecca is in this country. Medina is in this country. And the capital is Riyadh. Can you guess it now? No. Egypt, Turkey, no. Iran, no. What's the name of the country everyone goes to when they go off on their Hajj? Or when everyone thinks about, oh, who sells all the oil? Finally, excellent. Good job, good job. Yes, Zuro, you guessed it right. Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is that's the country I was thinking of. And Zuro, because you guessed it, now it's your turn. So I hope you will be nice and brave. Turn your microphone on, even maybe turn your camera on if you're brave. And yeah, now you take your country and give us the hints, and we'll try to guess.
It's not so big country, and it has one very popular towel in the capital of that country. And it is maybe known as the country of romance. Yes, Manisha Damatova guessed it.
Oh, is it France? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. That was much faster. So yeah, I think you guys are starting to understand the idea. So Maniza, it's your turn. I hope you'll be brave and give it a try. Turn on your microphone, maybe even your camera, and give us some hints about your country.
I'm sorry, you put me on spot. Hold on, I'm thinking.
Okay. Just any country, it's okay. Something that people will know about.
Oh, it's a country where some people call it the cradle of civilization. And it's very historical. The population of this country is no, it's not New York, it's not Italy.
The cradle of civilization, so it means it's a very ancient country, yes?
Yes, it is. It's a very ancient country. And some of the infrastructure of the buildings is very similar to Samarkand and Bukhara. Yeah, it was a good guess, actually.
So, yeah, guessing
No,
Greece,
it's not
Turkey. Does
Nope.
it have, if you're a tourist, is there anything special you would go and see in this country?
Yes, it is. And it has a very beautiful tourist attraction building, which is white. And yeah, Zuhra, good job.
Oh, Zudo, you guessed the second one in a row. Okay, we'll try one more, but I'd like to give a chance to more people to try. Is anyone brave that would like to try? Because Zudo already went. I see here is Feruz is here, Fernando, Sadbarg, Mavluda. Do any of you want to be brave and give it a try? Don't be shy. I'm sure we can all do it. Fernando, how about you? Are you here? Oh, wait a second. Okay. Sadbarg is trying to do it in the chat, guys. So let's read it here. It's a country where people have small eyes and people eat too much rice. Oh, I
China.
think
China.
Who guessed it? Who guessed it? Fernando.
Yes, that's me.
Excellent, Fernando. And you've got your mic on. So please, we'll do one last turn with you, Fernando. Give us some hints about your country.
Okay. It's a country which has a very important civilization in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's a country which is also known for its culinary variety. It's really rich when you talk about culinary, heritage.
Okay.
It's a country which has three really how can I say this? It has desert, mountains, and jungle.
Huh. I see people here are guessing. Did you see the guesses in the chat? We've got Mexico.
Not yet. No, not yet. Not
Brazil.
yet. No.
And you said it's in America. It's in America.
Yes, it's in America, in the country. It's South America. Let's help you a little bit.
In South America.
South America. Yes.
Oh wow! And you're here with a bunch of Tajiks. I think their South America geography is probably not so good. Oh, someone guessed Argentina, Chile.
No, you are really close. It's a country which has the highest lake in the world, and it's divided.
Oh.
And this lake has frontier with another country.
Is it Lake
Which
Titicaca?
capital is Lake Titicaca, exactly. And the other country is Bolivia.
Bolivia and what's it bordering? Paraguay, Uruguay.
No, the Lake Titicaca only borders on Peru. There we go.
Oh, Nasiba. Wow, you got it. Okay, great. Well, good. I think we had some fun, and we're thinking of a lot of different countries. And that's really the lesson today is focused on this idea of countries and talking about them and thinking about how they're different. So guys, first of all, thank you for playing my little warm-up game with me. And what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to go, let's see here. We've got, how many people have we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I seeing this right, or am I not seeing everybody? How many people have we got here? Oh no, it looks like we've got about 6 or 8 people. Okay, good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open up okay, I'm going to stop sharing just for a minute, and I'm going to open up three breakout rooms. And just for a moment, what's going to happen is this: when you go into your small group, you have a very specific job. Job number 1 is you need to brainstorm a list of countries. Not important which ones they are, but you need at least maybe 5 or 6 countries that you want to have on your list. And then once you've made that list of countries, I need your group to decide which country is best and going down and which country is worst. And of course, I know that right away, everyone's going to say, Well, what do you mean? How do we decide what's best, what's worst? Ah, well, that's your problem. I'm not going to tell you how you decide that. That's your job to figure out how you are deciding which countries are best and worst. So, guys, I'm opening these breakout rooms right now, and I'd like you to please, once they're open here, go in and do this job. Fernando, can you just remind us, so you have basically 2 jobs when you're in your room. What's your job, Fernando?
You have to make a list of 5 countries.
Yeah.
And you have to decide why you like these countries, and you have to come up with the criteria for deciding why you like these countries.
And just keep in mind, it's not so much why you like them, but it's just ranking them best to worst.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And yeah, so this idea of what are the criteria, it doesn't really have to be if you like it or not, but just which ones you think are best, worst, and yeah, what your criteria is. So guys, I'm opening the rooms. Please go off. You have just 2 or 3 minutes to do this little job for me. So please, off you go to your breakout room. Go, 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 go to your breakout room. Welcome back. We'll just wait a second while other people leave the room. Welcome back. Good. I see we're all coming back now. Excellent, excellent. So guys, I know you only had a very short time, but I hope you have at least some small idea of a few countries and how you would rank them. And I hope you can all see on the chat here. I've done an example for you. I chose 5 countries, and the way I ranked them was like this. Number 1, I put Canada. Number 2, China. Number 3, France. Number 4, Israel. And number 5, Vatican City. Can you guys see that in the chat there? Yes, no? Oh, good. Thank you, Zudo, giving me a thumbs up. And Mavluda, thank you, is telling me yes. So guys, your job now is kind of trying to think about, what was my criteria? What was my thinking for ranking them like this? How did I decide that Canada should be the very best and Vatican City should be the very worst? And you can talk if you want, or you can feel free to write it in the chat. But what do you think? What's the how did I make this order? Any ideas, guys? So again, my order was Canada, China, economy. Oh, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. But then Canada being number 1, it has quite a small economy. So no, I wasn't exactly thinking about economy, but it's a good guess. Population, well then, if it was mostly about population, for sure China would be the number 1 country. Canada has a very, very small population. Oh, opportunities, that's getting closer. Environment, that's also getting closer. Lifestyle, oh, these are all good guesses. Can you keep trying to guess, because you haven't exactly guessed yet? But I would say environment is close. Tourism, no, not so much. I know that Vatican City, it's a tiny, tiny little country, but it has millions and millions of tourists coming. So for sure, Vatican City would go higher up if it was about tourism. Any other guesses, guys? Size. Now you're coming very close. It's partly about size. Any other guesses? Last couple seconds. Culture. Okay, I'll tell you. The main location is also a good guess. I think the closest one here was when Zuro said size and Manisha said land. What I was trying to territory per capita, that's also quite a good guess, because yeah, if there's more space for people, that's a good idea as well. The food, I wasn't thinking about the food. What I was mostly thinking about is how rich are the natural resources. So that was my one thing. How many forests, how many mines, how hydroelectric plants, just in general, how many natural resources they have. And also I was thinking about how peaceful they are. So I guess actually maybe Vatican City should be higher up because they haven't been in any wars. But I was so what I was ranking it on, I'll put it in the chat here. I was thinking about natural resources, and I was thinking about peaceful. And so some people who guessed, I saw some people said diversity, opportunities. I guess that's also maybe connected a little bit to peaceful. So I'd like to try now to hear the same from you guys. So maybe Fernando, I see you have your video on and you seem brave. Could you tell us what were the countries you guys listed and what was the order? But don't tell us your criteria. We're going to try to guess. And you can speak if you want, or you can write it in the chat, no problem. Oh, your microphone is off. You have to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
We had a slight problem, I would say a big problem, because we chose countries. We first began choosing countries from where we were from. So we talked about Peru, Tajikistan, Brazil, and then we just added some more. We added Singapore and India, but we didn't have time to put them in categories because we all had a hard time deciding which was like the best, or because we were all choosing our own country, so we didn't really have we had a hard time ranking them. We didn't
for sure. Okay. And yeah, that's absolutely understandable. Wow, Raihona is a real master using the little flag icons there. Okay, that's fine, but let's just think a little bit more. And actually, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen because I want to show you the next little stage of what we're on here. So can I just get a thumbs up? Do you see my screen again?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Fernando. So guys, on the next page, we're coming to this point of how did you make your ranking? What factors do you think were important for a good country? So our job now is to actually, we started making a little bit of a list because I see that that some of you guys were writing in the chat. If I can find the chat, if I can find the chat room now. I don't know how we get, oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, when you were trying to guess for me, some of you said, oh, population you thought was important. Wealth is important. I'd like to see a few more ideas. Please type in the chat. What do you think are the factors that make you decide if a country is good or bad? Yeah, culture, land, what else? What else? I'd like to, oh, economy, Maniza says, yeah, that's for sure important. What else? Education level, okay. Opportunities, that's a good idea. What are some, oh, technology, maybe a very high-tech country is better than a country that's quite primitive. I guess that's one way to think about it. What else, guys? Let's see some more ideas. History. Yeah, maybe a country that's been around forever is somehow more, more interesting or more important than a brand new country that's just quite new. Any other ideas? Democracy. I see here, Natya, you have a few ideas. Democracy, number of visitors, developed country or not. So it seems like, yeah, your idea here is about sort of how popular it is with the world. If you have lots of people coming to it, if it's democratic, maybe that makes it a good country. Multinational. So yeah, I think, for example, lots of people really love America. And in America, you see there's all different nations in it. And some countries you go to and nobody visits it and all the people are the same. So maybe that's a way to rank countries as well. Oh, I see also here, environment. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, people think that a place that has lots of fresh air, lots of forests, medical care is a great idea. Safety, of course, a country where there's lots of crime or war, that's not a very good place to be. Cinematography development. Okay. Nature. Okay, great, guys. You've got a lot of good ideas. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my next slide. And I'd just like you to take a quick look here. Now, I know you're not really my English students, but if you were my English students, we could spend a few minutes on this, but I'd just like to, I'd like to take a moment and think about these. And do you think they're important for ranking a country or not? And maybe if there's any words that are new, you can take a look at that also. There's maybe actually this word, I think it's almost the same in Russian. I'm not sure in Tajik. Look on the list of words there, and can you tell me what is the word that means there's many people from many different places and they're all blending together? What's the word on my chart? Which word is that? Lots of different people all coming together, all working together. Exactly, Fernando. Yes, cosmopolitan. How about, let's see if there's any other maybe new words. Oh, what about a country that has very good police? The army is being very careful to make sure the borders are safe, so the people in this country feel very safe. Military, yeah, that's part of it. Military, safety is true as well. I'm thinking of another word. Look on the chart and see if you can see the other one. Security, Nasiba, Fernando, good job, security. Okay, and I think a lot of them we already mentioned. I heard people already were saying tourism, high-tech, economic power, etc., etc. So lots of different things you could think about to be ranking a country as better or worse. Okay, so we've got lots of good ideas, and now if we look at the next task here, and this one, I think it's something that we're gonna just spend a very quick moment on. Again, I know you guys were just sort of quickly going through this demonstration and we don't have so much time. But now, if I was going to try to actually collect some data, instead of just using my imagination, using my background knowledge. So for example, if I thought, oh, economy is something important for a country. What kind of data could I go and look for that would show me, oh, this represents something about the economy? Any ideas? What kind of information could I go look up that would show me if a country has a good economy or not? Any ideas, guys? Question to you all. Budget. Maybe. Yeah, I see. Natia, you've said budget. So maybe we see how much money does the government spend. That would show something about economy. Salary. Maybe that would be something about economy. How much the people earn in that country. Yeah. Job opportunities. Yeah, these are all good ideas. The one thing I want you to think about, though, is that we're trying to collect actual data. So imagine that I'm going to go off on the internet and do a little search and say, I want a list of countries by job opportunities. Well, that's not really, maybe that's not such an easy statistic to find. Maybe budget, maybe that would be something I could easily find, the list of the countries and their budgets. Healthcare, I think that's not so much about economy. That's probably more about health. I see Munavar has said GDP. Do you guys, have you heard this term before, GDP? It's quite a common economic term. It stands for gross domestic product. And what that means is that's like all the money that the country makes in a year is called GDP. And so I just want to show here are some examples that I have. If I was going to try to collect some statistics about the economy, maybe I would want to find out the GDP of these countries. Maybe I would want to find out the GDP per capita. So what that means is the GDP, but then divided by how many people are in the country. Because if two countries have the same GDP, but one country has 1 million guys and one country has 1 billion guys, of course, the country with 1 million, those people are richer. Yeah. And let's see what else we've got here. Oh, also maybe the unemployment rate could tell me something about the economy. Now, guys, again, I'm going to stop my screen share for a minute here. But let's see, I'm wondering, okay, what I would like you guys to do is another quick task in these rooms. Let's see here. I'm going to recreate. I'm going to make just 2 rooms and assign all automatically. Okay. What I would like you to do is, if you are in room 1, I would like you to think of the idea of health. Health. And if you think of health, what kind of statistics could you go and collect that are connected to health? So actually, I'll even rename that room. This room is called the health room. Whoops, just a minute. Health. And in the second room, I would like you to think about things connected to tourism. So I want you to think about, what kind of statistics could that be about? So your ideas for these topics, what categories of statistics would you go and search for? What would you go and look for to try to find out some data for these ideas? So I'm gonna open all of these rooms. The rooms are open again, just very quick, maybe 3-4 minutes. But please go off to your room and try to think about what kind of statistics could you collect? What kind of data could you collect for these 2 ideas, health and tourism? So please off to your room for just a few minutes. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I know that things are very, very rushed, and I only have this short amount of times, and doing it online, of course, is also a little more complicated. But I hope that we have maybe a couple of ideas. So maybe from the health group, I'd like to ask, maybe we'll just wait a couple of seconds here, because not everybody is back. I think everybody will.
Yeah, we are back already from the health group.
Yes, I'm just waiting. I see that there's still a couple people stuck in the rooms. Okay, but good enough. Let's keep going then. So, and Fernando, I thank you so much for being a brave online person. Can you tell us, for your ideas about health, what are some of the statistics you could collect that would be about health?
Our group was tourism.
Oh, you were from tourism. Sure. Tell me then, what are some of the statistics you would try to collect to rank countries by tourism?
We thought about like types of activities that you can do in the country.
Oh.
The number of tourists that visit the country.
Oh, I think for sure, number of tourists, that would be some easy data to find. You could go online and easily Google that. You could find that statistic.
The money the country gets from tourism.
This is also quite easy to find data. And I think if you just Googled, percentage of economy from tourism, or how much money comes in from tourism each year, I'm sure you could find that kind of a list. Yes.
Some feedback related to the country. Sometimes you categorize country, like you categorize hotels or restaurants. Some kind of feedback, general feedback from the country. Some packages.
It's interesting, Fernando, because I'd like to actually give you guys a little bit of something to think about. So when Fernando was saying, how much money the country makes from tourism, that's data. You can go and collect that data. You said something else. I forget, but that's one example.
It's on the chat. I wrote the topics on the chat.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Number of tourists. You can easily go and find this data. Money country gets. Yes, you could go and get this data. Now, some of these other things, I think it's a little bit subjective, or a little bit like, I don't think you could easily compare. So if you say types of activities, well, then you would just have to kind of sit and imagine yourself a list. And if you think of something like, going swimming. Well, you can go swimming in any country. And I think it would be much harder to collect that data. So think about it in terms of what kind of data could we collect? And let's just see if we can have a quick idea from the health group. Maybe I know Nasiba, oh, maybe Masuda. Masuda was in the tourism group. I know Nasiba is quite brave. Nasiba, do you want to tell us a couple of the things you thought of for? Go ahead.
Yes, yes. Actually, we discussed about most famous organizations that work on health, and we came to one conclusion that it's Red Cross, which was established in 1863, and it operates in 80 countries worldwide, and mainly in hotspots. So they operate also in conflict zones, and they do not share any political regimes or anything like that, but they usually serve all those who are victims of military actions.
Ah, that's interesting. So I'm just trying to think, if we wanted to collect data, if we collect the data of how much money or how much how much program spending Red Cross is doing in a country, that's actually kind of like a negative rating. If the Red Cross is spending a lot of money in this country, it probably means that their health system is quite poor. And if the Red Cross spends no money in the country, we think, oh, probably that's indicating that the country is doing better with their health system. Okay, great, guys. Now, I really do need to finish up. I've only got a couple more minutes, but I want to just tell you, this was really just kind of the introductory section of what would be quite a big project work for my students if I was doing this as a project. And I'm going to just share the last couple of slides in my presentation here. So guys, if you can see on my screen now, so just a second here. So we're thinking about what kind of data we can collect. And then the next step would be to think about, how good is the data, or how easy it is to find reliable data. And I just want to tell you a quick story. I was looking online and I was looking for healthiest country in the world. And I went to the North Korea government website, and I couldn't believe it. They have zero COVID. They never had one case of COVID, and they never had any of the main diseases that we talk about. So they have zero tuberculosis and zero whatever. It seems like North Korea is the healthiest country in the world. What do you think? Was I making some mistake when I said this? What was my problem?
Probably there's a lot of fake news related to North Korea.
And I think the hint was when I said I went to the North Korea government website. So guys, when we're looking for data, we need to think quite carefully about where are we getting the information, because some places they maybe are not going to give you very honest data. And if we're looking out for information about a country, maybe the country maybe they wouldn't give us such clear, honest information. And if you guys were going to do this project, I've got here a list of a few websites that I think are, fairly objective places that give sort of honest information about things. And what we would do in the final step of this would be an actual project where you as the students would go out, try to collect some data, try to create your own algorithm, and then present to us what data did you collect, how did you use that to rank your countries according to your criteria. So so in a way, I mean, my lesson, I didn't finish it, but I've shown you the sort of bare bones of this lesson. And I think we're kind of moving to the end for the sort of Q&A. And if we want to think about, I've got a few different questions here. Oh, go back one. We could think about this. Was it a STEM lesson? Why or why not? What do you, it seemed like it was more about sociology, politics. That doesn't sound like one of the STEM topics, but I think it was a STEM lesson. We can think about what skills were developed. We can think about this idea of media literacy, and was media literacy part of what was going on here? And also we could think about, is this something you might do with what you might do with your students? So I'm going to kind of finish with those open questions to the group. And I know that that my hosts Nasiba and English Without Borders said that the last few minutes should be sort of Q&A. So I'd like to kind of pass it over to Nasiba. We can maybe think about these questions, but I'll stop my screen share, and we can move on to the sort of final Q&A section.
Thank you so much, dear Thomas, like for a wonderful presentation. So I think like lots of teachers had a great ideas and also generated more ideas how to involve STEM in their classrooms and make them like, you know, make the students think and develop their thinking skills. So that's really nice. Okay, so dear audience, we are opening the floor for questions and answers, and please, yeah, please flag your questions and put them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask your question directly. Thank you so much.
And yes, I'm ready and willing. How long does it take to conduct a research with your students? Very, very good. This comes to this idea of sort of project work. And what you guys really saw during this, if this was a real classroom lesson, I think what we did in this little session together would probably be the first hour of classroom work, which would just be preparing the students. And then I think it would probably be at least one more lesson, or maybe even two more lessons for them to gather their data, think about how they would like to present it, maybe make a kind of a poster or some kind of visual, and then also think about what kind of a speech they would like to give to present their data. So I think this is a general, you know, this is a generally a good question about project work. And obviously the first step of the project work, the teacher is working much harder. And then in the ongoing parts of it, it's much more student-centered. Of course, here online, it would, you know, it's not something we can easily do online in just one session like this. And I see from that, I'll try to take these questions in order. And Natia says, and now a question, how can we integrate STEM education in everyday lessons? It's an excellent question. And really, really to me, I hope that maybe one of the things you noticed watching this lesson was a lot of critical thinking. So, you know, my focus as a teacher here was not to give you any specific information. You see that our topic was different countries, and we were talking about different aspects of different countries. But for me as a teacher, I didn't really care if everybody learned the GDP of France, or I didn't care if everybody learned how many hospitals there are in Brazil. So specific knowledge was not really my focus. My focus was on thinking critically about what kind of information do you want to find? How can you find that information? So this ties to this idea as well of media literacy. But I think just letting your students think critically, to me, this is the really key aspect of STEM. And I'm gonna just, because Natia, I think it's an excellent question, and I want to put my screen back on just for a final slide here, because here I'll share this with the group later on, but the last slide here, to me, this is a really, really useful and really important diagram, because what this is showing us is this is actually called the engineering mindset. So these are all the different skills engineers need in order to do their work as engineers. And you can see we have things like problem finding, creative problem solving, systems thinking, experimenting. So I think we don't have time to look at it in detail, but I think these are all of the kinds of critical thinking skills that I think are really, really useful to include. And if you look at that diagram, which, like I say, I'll share afterwards, that diagram can really help inspire you to think about how can we include those things in our lessons. Okay, next question is from Fernando. How do you deal with evaluation feedback when elaborating STEM activities? Again, that's a very good and a very typical big question. But I think, again, because my focus is on skills, my assessment should also be on skills. So I should make it really clear to my learners that, look, guys, I want you to show that you have thought really carefully about what kind of data you can find. I want you to show me why you think this data is trustworthy data. And then maybe I also want you to work in groups. So I want you to show really good cooperation in your group work. So, you know, if those are the things I'm focusing on, those are also the things that I should assess. Again, the assessment should match the focus of the lesson. Let's see here. Nasiba asking, at what grade the teachers should include STEM in EFL classes? Well, again, coming back to this idea of critical thinking, I don't think it's ever too early for people to be trying to think critically. And really, if you just think asking the question why, and not focus so much on memorize, but think, why is it like this? Why isn't it like that? Why is the sun hot? Why do we live on Earth, but we can't live on the moon? You know, everything like that, not just telling them stuff, but asking. So again, for me, a really important thing is this idea of ask. As a teacher, I think my big job is to ask, not to tell. And I think that's something that absolutely applies to young children as well. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions here. What elements, factors are important to enhance an environment where to stimulate STEM activities? Again, I think I'm just Fernando, you want to say something more?
No. You already answered that question a minute ago. Sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. But I think, you know, the important thing to take away from this, guys, is very often if you think about STEM and if you Google it online and look for STEM lessons, it's always about technology. So building a robot, building a bridge, computer programming, all of this sort of very technological stuff. But honestly, I think that's not the real heart of STEM. To me, the heart of STEM is this idea of critical thinking and developing this big family of critical thinking skills. And I think that the good news for you is that you don't need to buy a lot of equipment. You can absolutely do these kind of critical thinking activities in any normal classroom. It's really just focused on the approach you're taking with your students and how you're guiding them through that process of thinking. Anyway, yeah, I guess we're sort of out of time here. Let's see here. STEM from a scientific knowledge, looking at from our real life and everyday actions. I think it's a really important point, is that we can approach STEM from this idea of just everyday life, everyday actions. And I hope that you maybe got a little taste of that today when you were seeing that, no, we weren't building robots, we weren't flying drones, we were just thinking critically about the world around us and thinking about how to organize a project and how to put those ideas together. And to me, that's a STEM lesson. Okay, so Nasiba, back to you. I think we've answered all of those questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, to be honest, like again, going back to the abbreviation. So as you mentioned, like lots of teachers are kind of scared when they hear like STEM. Oh, it's something like beyond like my class. It's something like, you know, my students cannot handle, and so many other reasons. But today we have been able to see that, you know, how to integrate these kind of, you know, STEM integrated approaches into English without, English classes. So, and on behalf of all English Without Borders audience, once again, let me convey our deep gratitude to you